And welcome to the Vulcan Sportswire. I'm Gary Smith, and I'm joined, as always, by Caillou's Sports Information Director, Matt Kiefer. And Matt, it has been a busy weekend in Vulcan athletics.
Yes, certainly back into normal here with Caillou baseball and softball, both playing games last weekend. Softball back at action at Lily Field 2 weeks in a row now. Baseball continuing to go at Wild Things Park. They got a nice long homestand open here. Beauty of turf in Pennsylvania this time of year in baseball. If you have turf, you can play in a lot of different weather. And
they played in a beautiful sun-splashed afternoon on Saturday. We'll start with baseball. We'll go a little bit of chronological order. Against Clarion, we were there for the rare non-conference 9-inning game against the Clarion Golden Eagles. But beautiful afternoon, and California's offense made sure that you keeping stats in the press box were quite busy that afternoon.
Yeah, I mean, Nick Riggle, again, just went out and absolutely dealt, as he's been doing here for the last couple of years for the Vulcans. He pitched 7 innings, 9-inning games, so that's exactly what you want in your starter. You're stretching him out a little bit, but he also threw just a few number of pitches. I mean, he actually had a really low pitch count. But, again, you don't want to burn out arms too early in the year. You got a lot of seasons still left to play. And also, again, without the fall ball, it's one of those things there. But 17-5 victory, you're thinking, okay, a ton of hits. Yes, got a good number of hits there for the Vulcans, but it was only 12. So there's a lot of different ways to score in baseball, obviously. And Clarion gave a lot of those to Caillou between bases loaded walks, wild pitches, some RBI ground outs, sacrifice flies, way to manufacture some runs. But at the end of the day, they were walking a lot of different guys. Good Vulcans had some eyes there to make sure everything was going on there. Anthony Venesia had a great game for the Vulcans, career high 4 hits from the leadoff spot. Coach Conti kind of switched up the lineup a little bit there. Anthony's been a guy who's hit around 8-9 most of his career, but he's been hitting really well up until this point. Moved into the leadoff spot, and he did a great job getting on base 4 times. Scored a couple runs. And again, Patrick Brogan had 2 hits. Jacob Mccaskey had 2 hits. Both those guys scored 2 runs. And they're middle of the order, top of the order kind of guys. So when you're top of your lineup is producing and getting on base, you're going to find ways to get done. And as I said, Nick Riggle, 7 innings, he only threw 69 pitches. So that's pretty good there. You really love it. I know Coach Nora was loving that out of his starting pitching on Saturday.
And let's take a moment to check out those highlights from this past Saturday, California versus Clarion.
Someone's hit out to right field, back towards the back of the wall, and diving catch there. Someone was
just like that. Just like that.
That one found the gap, just like Gary said. Brogan's off to second base as that one's tracking back towards the wall. And that one's off the back fence, and Brogan's heading for home. And Mccaskey right there, slid in the third. Great triple there by Mccaskey. Brogan able to get home. That one hit out the right field, and that one will find the gap. That one's tracking back towards the fence. And 1 run will score for the Vulcans. You can see that one as that one caught that center spot, and it looks as though Stewart will hit the gas pedal, going for home, and he will get there. That one, a great catch there by Riggle, able to catch that one, 3rd out of the inning. As that one goes right through, straight out of the reach, and that one actually deflected off. As Stewart's running for third base, will he get there? Yes, he will. That one is low, and the runner will come home, and he will get there.
See if California get a nice 6-4-3 double play here. Or how about a 4-6-3, 4-6-3 double play. Nolan, I hate to step on your toes there, but I called it, so I'm going to call it.
That one's hit down third baseline. Great grab by Conti, able to get second base, and he is out on the play. Great diving play there from Conti. That one's hit down in between the shortstop and third baseman. Once again, that's hit high at the left field. Tracking back. Will it be gone? Yes,
there it is.
Grand slam there. As that one was hit long, and I didn't think we would see one, but we finally saw one.
And as so often in PSAC and NCAA baseball play, no rest for the weary. California had that game on Saturday, but Sunday, doubleheader against Salem. And Matt, another good afternoon for the Vulcans.
Yeah, I mean, anytime you go back to back like that, you're not sure really how everybody's going to hold up. But the Vulcans got the sweep against the Salem Tigers, an independent program in West Virginia. That's a very common opponent for about everybody in the PSAC West, just because of the location, an easy way to get games. And they also actually have they'll travel anybody in play. They actually went to Seton Hill, I think, the day before us. So them and Clarion sort of worked out a combination where everybody was sort of staying over, getting multiple games over the weekend. But Vulcans had a big offensive game, 13-10. The game was pretty much in hand until the Tigers scored 7 runs the last 2 innings off the bullpen for the Vulcans. But I mean, you got to be happy when you have that big lead. But again, they were able just to hold on there. I'm sure Coach Conti was sweating a little bit, throwing in Patrick Gumpton in the 9th inning just to get the last couple of outs. But again, got the win there. Dylan Broski had a nice start. In game 2, they went with Jacob Mccaskey to start on the mound. He's never started a career game on the mound. He's started a couple of relief appearances over his career. And again, everybody knows him as the everyday shortstop for the Vulcans. But he was a two-way player in high school. There are a lot of guys that do that. But in college, it's very rare to have that happen where guys will play 2 ways. Vulcans have done a great job over the years finding a way to manage that situation because, again, it's very difficult when you're playing in the field for 2 or 3 games and then you go to the mound. Or in Jacob's case, he played shortstop. He went to second base to try to save some throws and ease the arm a little bit in game 1. Had a home run in game 1. In game 2, he comes out and says absolutely deals. Only allowed 1 base runner, had 9 strikeouts in 5 innings, 66 pitches. There's a guy who's definitely not stretched out by any means. But again, looking to see what they can do in terms of starters. Because conference play, you're going to need 4 starters. And I mean, Nick Riggle is great for game 1. Dylan Broski's proven he can be a stalwart there in the rotation. And Zachary Haley. So you're looking for that 4th starter right now. And Jacob Mccaskey definitely put his name in the mix there for that position going into the conference play in a couple of weeks.
And in a long season, you never know when you're going to need to draw on people's past experiences to get through the season. In California, after the weekend 3-game sweep against Clarion and Salem, moves to 6-3 overall. And another team, we're going to switch sports. Another team with a hot start, the California softball team. This past weekend, they continued their PSAC play. As last week they started with the 2 doubleheaders against Gannon, but getting back into PSAC West play against the IUP Crimson Hawks. And Matt, on Saturday, they went to IUP and had themselves an afternoon.
Yeah, it's going to be very unique this year for the softball. Every game the Vulcans play is going to be, as of right now, a divisional opponent, and most of the division, the PSAC West teams, are doing that same approach. So there's not a whole lot of teams getting out of conference play. It's just the idea of the increased teams in the division with the PSAC Central dissolving and splitting into the West and East to try to make scheduling and traveling a little bit easier for everybody involved. But game 1, the Vulcans they came back and tied the game, had a lead midway through, but IUP took it in the 6th, 1-run lead. Then Paige Wilson hit a solo home run with 2 outs on the top of the 7th. Okay, riding the momentum there. But the Crimson Hawks at home came back and stole game 1 with a 6-5 win in the bottom of the 7th. But again, the Vulcans came back, rallied. You like seeing that, especially a young team. They scored 14 runs in the second game. They won 14-5 on Saturday. Had 2 big 4-run innings in the 4th and 5th. So, and freshman Charity Henderson and Janae Postler each had 2-run homers in the game. So, nice to see the freshmen continue to get experience and also producing when they have those chances, because it only builds confidence and makes it, the season go better as it goes along the way, knowing they've had success, they can do this at the college level.
And the Vulcans took some of that confidence into the Sunday doubleheader. That Sunday doubleheader was originally supposed to be Friday. Weather and field conditions did not allow it, so it was moved to Sunday. And, Matt, another good afternoon of softball for the Vulcans.
Yeah, got another split. So, again, sitting at 5-3. Both teams are IUP and Cal after 2 weeks of conference play. So, again, you're holding your own. You want to split as much as you can. You never want to lose a series. So, as long as you split series, you're at least in the contention for everything come tournament play in the last couple of weeks of the year. So, as long as you're sitting in that mark, the old adage is you want to sweep at home and split on the road. But, again, you just never want to get swept in either doubleheader going into it, because it really puts the pressure on going on to figure out how to get those extra wins back into the year. But for the Vulcans in game 1 at home, they had that nice lead early. But the Crimson Hawks, they tied it in the top of they took the lead in the top of the 7th, Vulcans rallied, tied it in the bottom of the 7th. So then you go extra innings. And the coaches worked out ahead of time doing the international tiebreaker. For those unfamiliar with it, it's basically what MLB used this past season with the idea of putting a runner on second base in extra innings. It really spurns the idea of keeping the game moving, because you're designed to score at that point. And IUP, they definitely did score in that inning. They got 5 runs and sort of put the game away, because getting 5 runs in extra innings is going to be hard to come back from. We'll credit the pitcher, though, for IUP. She threw the entire contest. and you could tell late in the game she was struggling. She finished the game with 171 pitches. So I'm sure her arm is still sore today, just a few days later, and she'll be lucky to pick up the old school days of picking a pen and paper for your classwork and homework. Yeah, it's a good thing it's on tablet because she probably can only use one hand still right now. But in game 2, the Vulcans, again, they got a big start early, scored 3 runs in the bottom of the first, and it basically just went on from there. Held a 4-0 lead. IUP definitely threatened in the top of the 7th, got 2 runs, and they had a couple runners on, but again, found a way. Caitlin Leary, as freshman, tossed a complete game in the contest for the Vulcans, and she got the win there to give the Vulcans a split on Sunday at Lily Field.
And after those games this past weekend, let's take a look at the Psac standings in the West Division after the first week of play, at least for the Vulcans. I know a couple teams might have played the previous weekend. As you see on the screen, Seton Hill 4-0, Edinburgh 2-0, then Cal, IUP, and Mercyhurst all in the logjam for the early third spot, all 5-3. Gannon 3-5, Clarion 1-3, Slippery Rock 1-5, and Pitt Johnstown 0-2. In the early season. And Matt, after this weekend, both the baseball team and the softball team received some conference recognition.
Yeah, I mean, on the women's side, the softball, Paige Wilson got named hitter of the week, athlete of the week, whatever you want to call it. But again, Vulcan's definitely aided with that idea of playing 8 games in a week. But she started the year so strong, so hot. 12 RBI, had a slugging percentage of .815. And she had 7 extra base hits. She had 6 doubles and a homer. So I really put herself as a presence in the middle of that lineup for the Vulcans here starting the year. And nice to see her coming back because, again, obviously last year was COVID, so nobody played a whole lot of games. But even the year before, she was hurt. So she's been basically away from the game, only playing 17 games in 2019 and 2020 combined. So getting her back in the lineup on a regular basis, being a presence in the Vulcans there in the lineup, helping some of the younger freshmen, and also getting on base, giving them opportunities to hit with runners on is definitely a nice boost for a young squad. My office works with the idea of creating the Vulcans of the week, and Jacob Mccaskey, we picked him this week as that because given his ability to play both ways, again, he only gave up 1 hit, 2 base runners in his first career start on the mound, had 9 strikeouts, 5 innings. And during the week, he had 2 home runs. He had a grand slam on Saturday against Clarion and came back with a solo homer on Sunday in game 1 against Salem. So, again, nice way to recognize both of these athletes there. Paige got it from the conference and from the office, but Jacob we thought was a worthy recognition on the men's side and needed to be praised for his accomplishments, being able to do it both ways. Had some great offensive guys on the men's side, had some good weeks, but nobody really contemplated the idea of offense and pitching, and Jake played a great job at second base and shortstop throughout the weekend too. So just something to try to do each week, try to recognize a variety of sports and the overall performance, maybe not just one game per se, unless there's one of those where it's a walk-off hit, something like that, pinch hit, something that really stands out. But Paige and Jacob, congrats again getting Vulcans of the week, and then Paige getting PSAC West Athlete of the Week.
And it's great to even be talking about great performances because a year ago we were dealing with at the start of the pandemic. And Matt, I know university this past week has kind of marked that year-long journey that we've been on. And you and I had a chance to talk to a couple players about their reflections about what it was like last year, losing their season and coming back.
Yeah, I mean, it's something the university wanted to recognize. I believe it was Monday. It was the 1-year anniversary for the decision for the university to go online, and they worked on a campaign asking different departments to put something together, whether it be videos, photos, just a story in general. Given our partnership over the years, I thought it'd be a nice way to do a little video segment we picked basically what you would call 2 COVID seniors that would be done with their graduation in May, would have been done competing, but both decided to return back to Cal U. Both are in grad school right now. Nick Riggle and Alicia Collier from women's track and field. Obviously, we talked about Nick having a great start to the year so far. And Alicia here going to be starting up soon with the track season coming up right around the corner. She had a great indoor season last year, and I'm sure Coach Koffel and everybody on the program is glad to see her back and just poised for more success here this spring on the track.
And let's take a moment to check out and hear what Nick and Alicia had to say regarding the pandemic.
Having my senior season taken away was pretty hard. It was very unexpected. I think after the end of our indoor season at indoor conference, all of the girls' side was pretty excited looking to outdoor. I know whenever we got back, we all thought we had a pretty good shot at trying to go for the team title outdoor. So whenever we found out that our season was canceled, I think everybody took it pretty hard, not knowing, whether we would get a season back or be able to come back. Especially for me, being a senior is pretty hard. But I did know that I wanted to come back to Cal regardless because I wanted to get my master's. So whenever I found out I'd be able to compete again, I was pretty excited about that. So coming back this fall as the GA and still being an athlete, I didn't know how well that was going to work out. I didn't know what all that would require of me. So far, I think it's been pretty awesome just to be back, being around my teammates, getting to practice, knowing that I'll actually have a season this year. And academically, I think it's also been better for me. Grad school is going a lot better than expected. So I'm really just looking forward to being able to get back on the track in the next, I think we have 10 days till our first meet. So I'm pretty excited to get back and, seeing how we do as a team this year.
It means a lot that we've been given an extra year eligibility. Going into the last season, we were confident that we were going to have the full season, and down in North Carolina on our spring trip, towards the end of it, we found out that we were not going to be able to have the rest of our season, and that the university was shutting down and going completely online, which was, was a big shock to all of us. We had put in so much time and prepared for so long. It was really disappointing to see, and there was a lot of confusion and, just not knowing what was going to happen next. We were just trying to go with the flow, and within the next day or so, we heard that, spring athletes were going to get their eligibility back for one more year. And being the competitive person that I am, it made a really easy decision for me. I was going to continue to get my education here at Cal, work on my MBA, and I got started right away. I used that first summer semester to get jump started right into it, and just having this extra year to finish what I started within my career. I've had a long career here, and I've really enjoyed every second of it. If it would have ended like that, it just would have sat wrong with me, and I couldn't be happier to be back here. Another beautiful year on this campus, and really looking forward to what the future has for the Cal baseball team, and really appreciative of getting that extra year.
And Matt, as we round the corner from last week into this week, as we say so often, no rest for the weary. Another full slate of Vulcan action this coming weekend.
Yeah, it's been one of those where it's sort of designed right now to basically just compete on weekends. Again, we're recording this on Tuesday. This will change. There's no question. It's Pennsylvania weather and still mid-March. There's no guarantee of anything really, except you don't know anything when it comes to weather, no matter what a meteorologist says. But again, baseball still looking at non-conference play. They're doing the random kind of thing with IUP, playing a home-and-home single 9-inning as of right now on Friday at Cal, and then Saturday going to IUP. So it's one of those, again, just like the Clarion, playing a conference team, but does not count as a conference game. Those are later on in the season. But softball, their weekend is going to be dealing with Clarion back-to-back days. Traveling to Clarion on Friday before returning to Lilyfield on Saturday. Again, assuming everything works well for both all four fields in play. IUP does have turf on their baseball field now a little bit as well, so that helps out baseball. But softball, a little bit more of a crapshoot. Cross country, believe it or not, it's their conference championship. Again, we had it last week. We talked about their opening race, and they're winding down already. Again, as I said, the first time doing this show, it was all really just gearing up for the track and field season, which will be coming around the corner. Those will be hosted at Lock Haven, and there'll actually be live video courtesy of Mansfield for the race, and Slippery Rock is traveling over and providing photography of the races. So a lot of different ways to see it before, during the race, after the race, and live results from the timing company. So nice to see that sport getting some representation and also support from across the league so people can see what's going on. And also the Vulcans, again, as of right now, are scheduled to be home on Saturday with tennis against Fairmont State. Obviously, you need dry courts and everything to work conducive there, but if weather holds, it'll be one of those things to see the Vulcans over at Rodman Park. You'll be able to see them there, go watch some softball back and forth, be able to check out a couple of different actions for the Vulcans this weekend. And
CUTV will be there Saturday for the doubleheader for softball, and then we will be at baseball whenever that game is played. Like I said, you never know when the schedules are going to change, but I do know the one place to go to find the most up-to-date information, that's calvulcans.com, because I know when we're not talking, you're typing up updates and getting out releases both on calvulcans.com, but also your Twitter at calvulcans, and also Instagram at calvulcans. I believe it's calvulcans on Instagram too, right?
All three. You have Cal Vulcans, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. So it's definitely one of those things to try to keep everything updated. The exact page, calvulcans.com/calendar, gives you nothing but the calendar. So if you don't care about anything else, you just want to say who plays when, where, what the live links are, what CUTV is providing, what my office is providing in terms of live stats. And after the game, if you want to go back and read it, you have recaps there, links to highlights, links to photo galleries. So that site will be your one stop for everything. And it's one of those nice things. You can go anywhere you want to off of it. You can look 2 weeks ahead. You can look 2 weeks behind. The calendar, we try to keep it as updated. Once we hear a word from the coaching staff and administration, we make the change. We put it up there as quick as possible.
And I tell you what, that calendar feature is the greatest thing on earth, because if I'm ever in doubt and if your phone doesn't answer, I just go straight to the calendar and all the information's there. But real quickly before we leave, as we shoot this, it is March 16th, which means it's 3/16, Stone Cold Steve Austin Day. Matt, as a wrestling fan, what is your favorite Stone Cold Steve Austin memory?
Man, it's probably one with him with The Rock, maybe with Shawn Michaels. You never know. It's one of those things where you had the Hulk Hogan era, then you shifted from me to the Stone Cold. It sort of went from that kind of era and transition. So definitely, when you see 3/16 written anywhere in combination, you can't help but think, being a wrestling fan, that's exactly where it is. It's Stone Cold Steve Austin Day.
Well, you kind of stole my thing, because I was going to say my favorite memory is anytime he would give The Rock a Stone Cold Stunner, because Rock would sell it like he was just hit by an atomic bomb. So it was always enjoyable, and that was a great era of wrestling. So I know it's not, Hulkamania, because you're one of the biggest Hulkamaniacs on the earth. But like I said, we had to mention it was Stone Cold Steve Austin Day. So that ends this edition of the Vulcan Sportswire. Once again, for all the up-to-date information, go to calvulcans.com, and Matt and his staff will have all the pertinent information, any schedule changes, and all the links that you need. So for Matt Kiefer, I'm Gary Smith, and you've been watching and listening to the Vulcan Sportswire.